Good morning, good morning. We've got a great session planned for today. I say planned, I mean loosely, because of course this is the automation playground. And the thing about a playground is you play and you have a little bit of fun. But good morning. First of all, how are we doing? I have Lucy and Sheree with me. We've got the full Share3 team today. You all right?
Very good. I'm very excited for this session. We've said that on every
Excellent.
single one, but this I particularly am excited about.
Look, if we're permanently excited, that's just who we are. That's how it works. It's not a problem.
I'm excited because this is kind of a grey area for me. This is your specialty. So I'm going to be very much learning today.
Well, don't worry, because we are going to dip into your world of finance and you're going to make sure that we do this with kindness. So, I mean, you are absolutely in the room with us today. What we are planning to do is we thought it would be useful for our network to see what would happen when we get given a fairly common job by a client where we need to help them manage their data in a way that just smooths out the business process for them. So we've replicated, padded it out a little bit, we've made it work as a demo, but we've replicated an exercise that we had for one of our clients, and we're going to walk our audience through what it takes to manage data in SharePoint. We're going to very specifically show what happens if you are paying for a Microsoft license. You actually have an awful lot at your fingertips that you might not know that you have. And we're going to touch upon the ways in which we try and make our clients' lives better by automating stuff that would otherwise be a real pain in the rear. Now, Sheree, you are head of data and automation. This is your wheelhouse.
Indeed, yes. And it's so exciting, isn't it? But when we were talking about it earlier, there is a love-hate relationship with automation. And I think we were describing it earlier as like sometimes it can be like trying to juggle with your friend that's very drunk and not cooperating very well, and you know you've got to get them where you need them to be. But I enjoy that about it because then when you've cracked it, the sense of satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly, because you have to dig really deeply into why you're automating this. It has to fit within the greater need of our client and what the aim is, what they're trying to achieve. And it might be useful for our networks to know that we work an awful lot with the Power Suite, don't we? So we work with Power Apps, we work with Power Automate, we work with Power BI, and that suite, although Microsoft make a big deal about it being for non-specialists and it being no code, low code, it takes quite a bit of experience to get used to it. And luckily we've been wrangling with our lovely drunk friend for years and years. So we have ways of persuading them to get to the front door. So why don't we start off then just by talking about the things that our clients wouldn't need us for, as in just the things that are available for them. I'm going to share my screen and just talk about our best friend. Lucy, this one's for you. Our best friend, Excel. Because I know it's become really fashionable to do it a disservice to say, why would you manage your business on spreadsheets? Well, because it's worked beautifully for the last however many years. We've got, well, Lucy, you and I, we have a soft spot for Excel, don't we?
Oh, very soft.
Love it. So, like marshmallow love is what we have for Excel. So I don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm saying here. You love Excel, we love Excel, like VLOOKUPs for the win. We're not trying to replace Excel here. But one of the things that Excel does beautifully is it gives you a lovely little file format for your data to be exported in really portable ways. And so the scenario that I'm going to give for this session today is that many of our clients, they end relationships with SaaS software, SaaS being software as a service. You know, those apps that you can get subscriptions to online. As a business grows, they'll move from different services. And at some point, we often end up with a CSV comma separated values file sitting looking at, rather like this one, looking at us from Excel, and the client's saying, right, we've migrated out of our previous relationship with a provider. This is our raw data. Who do you reckon we should go to next? And a lot of the time we'll say, all right, hold up a second, do you have a Microsoft license? And our experience is that so many of them do, don't they? So many. It's massive market share. It's very rare. Our clients fall into one of two camps, really. It's Microsoft or Google. I think I'm sure there's unique stuff out there, but it's generally that. And if you're paying for a Microsoft license, then you have access to tools like SharePoint. And what loads of people don't realize is that SharePoint can be used as a database. So here's a really good example. Now, Sheree, you work really closely with the client on this one. We've given the example here of fleet management. We've got to manage loads of vehicles. There's loads of processes involved. So you're my subject matter expert here. And Lucy, you've got really good insight into the day-to-day work that our clients do, because of course you've done it. You've been there. So you're going to represent our client in this one. And so put client hat on. And thank you. And let's see what we can do for them. Let's see how we can manage this. So let's think about the data that we've got. First of all, what seems to be coming out here is, oh, sorry, can I just stop for one sense of irony that I don't drive. So although, yeah, don't drive. So technically I'm in the room, locked in, highly focused. But please do not judge me when I make stupid questions about vehicles. I don't know. I don't know a scooter from a van, so let's just acknowledge that. But it seems to me that what we've got is a lovely, beautiful long list of vehicles, and then all the kind of data that would allow us to run our processes and manage our fleet from here. Okay, at this point, anyone want to dive into what they see in the data? Any comments or concerns you would have? Because we've now got to make sure for our client that this data is clean and tight and good and ready to get imported.
Yeah, so when we reviewed this earlier, straight away picked up on the year, because a year of make of a vehicle is nice to know, but when you're looking at data and what you need that data for, a year is too vague, because that's going to determine when the first MOT is due.
Yeah.
So we would be asking the client for the actual date of registration, not just the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that isn't provided by the previous provider, what are our options? Where would we go?
DVLA to get the information, but going through 65 records is a task that, well, you're going to have to sell that probably to the lowest bidder.
Indeed, but it's something that we really make our clients aware of so that they don't run into problems later down the line. Clean data, it's that thing that I hear a lot. Most people agree. You put rubbish in, you'd get rubbish out. There are unsafe for work variations of that phrase, but put rubbish in, you get rubbish out. So we would do a massive audit of the data first. Massive if there's a lot of data, that's for sure. Okay, so we have got some really cool data here. We've got lots of dates: last service date, next service date due, good, MOT. I mean, it looks pretty good, right? So once we got past cleaning up this data, and Lucy, as the client, what kind of worries might you have about this data? I mean, you're probably going to worry about its accuracy. I don't know that most of our clients can guarantee it's 100% accurate. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, to be honest, most of it is in there. The registration date is hugely important.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, other than its validity, you just got to trust it, I guess, right?
Yeah,
what can you do?
Yeah, and that's where it's communications with clients every step of the way. It can never just be about the tech. It's all about our relationship. So we always keep it ongoing, have this chat. But once we've done that, let's skip to the good part. Big reveal. What we would do then is we would park this data for them in an interactive SharePoint list, so that we can truly begin to understand the data and understand the needs of our clients. They may want to move towards a SaaS provider, and if that works for them, we don't stand in their way. But what they're often surprised is how much you can get done within the SharePoint list. I'm a huge fan of them, really. There's so much you can get done with a license that you're already paying for. That's the thing that gets me. And most of our clients keep it here, don't they? I don't think that a lot of them move it out unless there's reasons business-wise to do so. So let's have a look around the screen and start talking about the things that we can do with it as a SharePoint list. First things first, the list is now hosted on a web page, which means absolutely anyone who's related to the fleet management can now come along and manage this as an online spreadsheet. Let me give you a really quick example of what we can do. Sheree, Lucy, we do this all the time. It's like the quickest way to get answers for our clients, just filtering. Good old-fashioned filtering, sorting. So if they want to know how many vans we got, okay, I'm going to go filter. I'm going to go van. I'm going to go apply. Fabulous. There, I got 27 vans. But, you know, that's not groundbreaking because we could do that in Excel. It's just that it's a nice, clean environment. What are your favourite SharePoint list features, Sheree? Share with me what you like to do on a kind of basic level.
In my experience with a fleet,
yeah,
because I have background in fleet management also, it's the views, because this is a lot of data and it spans across, and you can scroll and scroll, but it's just a lot of information.
Yeah.
But the views in SharePoint are so helpful for managing the fleet, because you can create the views with very little tech to give you what you need. So if I was going in to look at the history servicing of a vehicle, you can just get the relevant information, and it's all still that core data, but you're just narrowing the view down. So that is such a huge one.
Yeah, I love them as well. Huge fan of them, just because it adds flexibility. So let's do a really, really simple one. It's not going to change anyone's world, but just to demonstrate what this does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into here and go to filter and car, for example. And what that does is it just separates out from our fleet management list all the cars. Simple as that. And then what I'm going to do is save it as a view. So save view as all cars, and then save. What that does, it creates a tab above the spreadsheet, and you can create as many tabs as is useful to you as an organization, where that's all my vehicles and that's all my cars. Simple as
and
that.
what I find particularly helpful with that is that you can hide the columns that in that view aren't relevant. So it's less of an overwhelm of data. So
lovely, lovely. Yeah, it's well worth just pointing out that every single one of these columns has a drop down arrow, and it gives you some of your very favorite Excel features. You're not going to lose anything. Lucy and I were very pleased about this. It's a bit precious. So calm down, it's going to be all right. And then what's really exciting, because this is like an in joke in our industry, by the way, it doesn't matter what gorgeous, fancy, lovely things you give people. If I'm an Excel person, give me Excel, don't mess with me. Let me do what I need to do. And so up here, we've got a toolbar, and I calm everyone down. It's okay. This is yours. This is yours. We're going to centrally locate it within SharePoint so everyone can get to it that needs to. But export to Excel if you want to do your own thing. Not a problem. And this is where it really ends up having these wonderful conversations with our client, doesn't it, about what they need. So why are people exporting to Excel would be a gentle question we'd ask. Oh, because they like to do pivot charts and pivot tables and things. Okay, cool. Well, we're not going to cut that away, but we might want to consider what we can give them to save their time on that. Now, one of the things that I feel passionate about is if people are enjoying their work, don't touch that stuff. I know efficiency is the goal. I know productivity is so important. But if somebody's genuinely loving creating a pivot table because it gives them what they need and they enjoy the process, let's not start there. Let's not take away that as our first bit.
Yeah.
But it does, doesn't it? It brings us loads and loads of questions to our clients about how they manage their data. It's a lovely conversation starter. So yeah, I love the views, absolutely love the views, but this is the automation playground. So let's gear ourselves towards how we can save people time. And one of the things that I absolutely love is anything that's going to save cognitive load. Cognitive load is really, really important. And it goes back to an absolutely classic feature within Excel. Who doesn't love conditional formatting? We love it. Everyone loves conditional formatting. It's a beautiful thing. And the reason we love it is because it helps our cognitive load. It makes things easier to see, right? So what I thought I might do is think about how colour might be used to help and guide cognitive load, without making this fully reliant on vision. That's really important because I want it to be an accessible data list as well. But what kind of reasons might we use colour? You can see that I got ahead of myself in our demo and I've colour coded the vehicle types anyway. What are your thoughts? What should we go with?
And stuff becomes due, I think. We've seen quite a lot of that, haven't we?
Yeah.
When something needs servicing or a reminder, so that when you see it, it pops up. 100%. You don't have to look for it. It's there.
Yeah. And that, again, it really saves cognitive load if it's nice and clear and easy to view. So let me ask you then, would that tend to be things like next service due? We want to see a kind of colour reference to that. Okay, so one of the things that we can do very quickly is we can format the column. Fabulous. We're going to format the dates and edit the styles. So what's the rule here? If the next service due is before today, what colour do we want? Well, that means it's in date, right?
If the next service due is before today. No, if it's before today, it's expired, like it's past.
Okay, so we're going to go red there.
Yeah.
And if it's due today, what do you want?
I'd say yellow.
Okay. And
if it's in for today.
If it's due after today,
green.
That's fine for us.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. That's very bold. And you know what? I'm just going to dial it down a little bit. I feel like overdue is fine to be bold, but let's keep it fairly subtle. Good. All right. I think that really helps. We can see very clearly now where dates are, showing correctly when service is due. So I'm assuming then that for our clients, we would have a conversation and say, right, what do you need to know? Let's do the same thing again, just to reiterate it. So it's format dates, edit styles, and you just have to know what you want from your date. So if it's before today, same pattern, then the yellow. Correct me if I'm,
yeah, no, that makes
doing
sense.
the logic wrong. There we go, and close. So quick and easy. As you can see, this is low code, no code. This is very easy to achieve. Good. All right. So color coordination is a great way of organizing the screen so that cognitive load just becomes a little bit easier. We can make decisions quicker. But I suppose one of the issues we have is they're going to have to check it, aren't they?
Yeah,
which is fine if that's how the business works. Not the end of the world. Like, come on in. This is your dashboard. Let me show another thing that makes this work really well. We can let's go by. I don't even know whether we would want to be honest, but let's filter by annual. You can tell I'm not a driver, can't you? I don't know. Is that a useful way to go? And then let's group by department, not necessarily because we should, but just because we can. And this is the conversations we have with our clients. What is the most useful way for you to see your data? So now I've got, what have I got? I've got all manual cars by department. I've managed to pick a useless data set, haven't I? This is why we have subject matter experts. It's not the end of the world. But the important thing is that we're really flexible. We have a good conversation with the client, don't we? Find out what's valuable. Okay. Yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable for somebody to check fleet management every single day, but I know that that's not the case, right? Because you've got plenty of things to do. Sheree, what would we offer instead?
Oh, at a very basic level, some reminders ahead of time that something's coming up for expiry. In my experience, is sort of 30 days time before sort of any of these expiry dates.
Yeah.
Little reminder, because then you haven't even got to think about it.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's well worth us having a look through. Let's have a look for a date field. Warranty expiry, anything that has the word expiry on it. I don't need to be a driver to know that's probably worthy of a reminder. And so I think that this is where we can start talking about the idea that this is all great, this is all Excel-y stuff, but it's not really action-based, is it? It's just ways to organize the data on your own steam. Whereas up here, up here, we start getting all these different ways in which we can use our data. Just trying to see what's there. And one of the things that I like most is the new workflows option. So this gives more choice than we've ever had before with SharePoint Lists. It's quite it's not new. We've had it for a couple of months, haven't we? It's fairly new. And we can see that we can build a workflow that matches exactly what our clients require. So let's look at this one, for example, notify a channel when a new SharePoint list item is added. Sheree, talk me through how we use that, because it does require some other Microsoft apps in the tenancy as well. Give us a breakdown.
Yeah, so I suppose in this list, we wouldn't necessarily use that, but in other areas where we sort of staying on track with fleet, we have one for vehicle issues. So we can create forms for clients that are Microsoft forms, really easy user experience. People submit the forms, and then depending on a few ways that things are set up, we can either use Power Automate to populate SharePoint lists, or if they're internal, it can just go straight into the list. And then a workflow such as this can then notify whoever, wherever in a channel, that a new entry has come in, which requires their attention. If it's, for this example, of an issue, someone needs to attend to that straight away.
So for our viewers who might not be familiar with vocabulary, what is a channel, and what are we moving it into then?
Apologies. So this moves it into the Teams environment. So in Teams, you have Teams, which Microsoft, I think they could have done better there. So you have your teams within Teams, but then you have your channels. So it's bringing it into a channel which is about a specific topic or element or section of the business.
Yeah, and it pings messages to whoever you want it to ping to, like on their phone, on their laptop, doesn't matter, because Teams is the messaging tool that you pay for in your Microsoft license. So it ties together really well. Now, Lucy, if we think about notifying a channel using this example, when a new SharePoint list is added, we're talking about a proper client workflow here. So if someone's added something new to this list, that means there's a new vehicle in our business. Like thinking about what the data actually means. Now, as the client, wouldn't you want to know if a vehicle has been added?
Absolutely.
And who do you reckon would want to know or need to know?
Fair few people, I would say.
Yeah, I imagine a fair few people. I can imagine this being a knock-on. Imagine if you could then alert the person who's been assigned that vehicle, the driver. We could just ping them in Teams and say, right, your vehicle has been added to the fleet management. Please do X, Y, and Z. Or, you know, this is when we get into process, right? And everything ties in. We can't just manage data as though it's just merely data. It's not. It's the way that people work all day, every day. It affects what people have to do in their jobs. And we take that seriously, always thinking through what the knock-on effects are going to be.
And that is the luxury that you have with doing it in SharePoint as well, because when you buy an off-the-shelf solution, you give them what you're given, and you'll get your data imported into it, and then it is what it is. And 6 months down the line, you realise it can't do X, Y, Z that you needed. But we have that flexibility with SharePoint to make it a bit more tailored, or a lot more tailored to what people need.
Yeah, and it's madness. Like, I put all my eggs in one basket. So I've done 20 years with SharePoint and M365 now. And once you know what it can do, it isn't as overwhelming. The one criticism that I think is really valid about SharePoint is it's not easy to know what you're doing straight away. It's not necessarily something that just comes to you very, very quickly. So one of the benefits of SaaS software or software as a service, if you're going to go to a provider, is that if it works, beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely. If it works, you'll be the happiest people in the world. But what we've found is just that it needs a bit more flexibility to grow with you. And I think that's what gets people when that software doesn't quite meet their requirements over time. I think that works really well on this. So we can notify a channel when a SharePoint list is added. Let's do a quick of a search. That's a good one. A quick search for things like email. That one's an interesting one. A digest email that gets sent out that summarizes the SharePoint information. So let's have a think. SharePoint site, automation playground. Yeah, that's our demo site. This list include all file or item modifications. What does that mean for our client?
Guess it's anything added, isn't it? Or
it's literally if any of the data
done.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would summarize all new files or items, all modifications to the list, like when, Sheree, you go on in and update the, I don't know, the service date or something, or maybe not you, but when the client does, it would be included in this summary email. And then you get to choose when it runs. So run the schedule every day, time zone, give it an email subject. I mean, this seems like it would be useful. What kind of roles would need a summary email? I think every day is a bit steep.
Yeah.
Might be a bit much every day.
And that would be a really good instance where we would increase mental load, increase cognitive load. We would decrease digital well-being if we made that decision. And digital well-being is always kind of leading our decision making when we build solutions and work with our clients' data. Okay, summary email. What would be a really useful cadence for it? I'm just really pleased with myself for using the word cadence, by the way. Sorry. Good word.
It's a runner in you yet, Philippa.
Thanks very much. That's as close to running as I get. I don't know, we'd have a conversation, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we would.
I think the difficulty with that is if you did it every day, it's too much. If you do it every month, you may have missed something that you needed to do. So I'm not quite sure.
And it depends who it's going to.
And it depends the size of the business, because some businesses, one person would manage this whole list and no one else would have input. So do they need a recap of everything they've done? Maybe, maybe not. It's all open to conversation.
And that's what I love about this conversation. That's why I think and I hope this session will be useful, because this is exactly the questioning that we should be doing, exactly the discussions that take place when we have the responsibility of helping our clients manage data, because it's never just data, it's people's lives that we're dealing with. But it's a really good example of how SharePoint has these built-in features that we could use, but ultimately we might just want a reminder. Like we might just want it to go in and send to a list of people, your warranty is expiring, not expired. See, I showed some knowledge there. Your warranty is expiring. And then what kind of stuff do you have to do? What implication is that if your warranty expires?
It's your problem then, isn't it?
Yeah. Warranty is probably not, but things like your MOT, your tax, your servicing is all very important stuff that you need reminding about and you need to do.
Yeah, so and I kind of feel really like relevant. Someone somewhere in management is going to say, how many of our vehicles are out of warranty? Or on the other side, how many of our vehicles are still in warranty? I just feel like that's a little question that will pop up. And so it would be useful for us to set up workflows. But this is where it comes out of the you can do it yourself mode. And this is where we would use a much heavier duty tool and we would integrate it with Power Automate or flows as we have in here. And that's when you dictate step by step. If this, then do this, under these conditions, do that, send it to him, send it to her. We would go through that process. But one of the things that I want to do just now is let's look at rules next. Rules are quite important. And then I'll go on to approvals to end, I think. Now, rules we can use very, very flexibly, but they're basic. We can get this done really, really quick for a client. If they meet their requirements. So every single workflow has a trigger, or the rule has a trigger. If an item is modified, if an item is created, if an item is deleted, or if a date approaches. And then bing, I go, date approaches. And on this one, really quickly, no fuss, no drama, we can just say, help me out here, 10 days before, those are our dates. What would you like?
MOT expiry.
Yeah, lovely. Send an email to, and then we could say either me, the person who logged the document, the vehicle, not document, vehicle. And that actually becomes very useful without no development, no major code. You need to change it to 5 days. Boom. It's there, no problem. And then it gets to the point where a lot of our clients will be able to tweak their workflows as they go to find out what works best for them, without having to do the heavy duty stuff that we can do for them in Power Automate. The other thing I'm going to point out here, Sheree, we've had great success with using Active Directory, haven't we? People and groups.
Yeah.
Not doing it on this demo today because we don't have access to the Active Directory or the list of people who are assigned licenses in Microsoft. But when you create a column that references somebody who has a login, it pops up in this list of people that you can send emails to. So if we used a people or group, for what column? How would that work? Help me.
The assigned driver who's driving the vehicle currently.
Yeah, if we tag in the driver by tagging in their account in Microsoft, then they would appear in this list. So we can send an email to the primary driver. Or we could say person responsible. Maybe the organization has a racy type situation as they manage their fleet. So the person who's responsible for the vehicle, which may not be the driver, could be a manager, for example, they would get the update. Flexibility is absolutely key because we work very, very much according to agile frameworks as we go, iterative processes and all that. Or any questions about that one that you think would be useful for our audience? So
I don't think so.
Yeah, ultimately what we're saying, 10 days before the MOT expires, don't let that happen. Send an email to the person who logged that vehicle. Boom, that's live. That's a rule.
Yeah, just gives people some control over it without any knowledge, experience, like it's something that they can manage themselves.
So just because I don't want to accidentally share any data that we shouldn't share on this video, I'm not going to start going into Outlook and showing, but talk us through what these rules produce, like what the notifications feel like.
Just an email, very standard email with a link. It sort of gives you a blurb about the exact rule you created, but then just it will give you the reg, the expiry date, and a link so you can click into the item and take you straight to the SharePoint list.
Yeah, no fussing, no feuding, just literally it's going to expire in 10 days. Off ski, go and have a look, see what you need to do. So again, it's not bogged down by features that are over prescribed. Yeah, over prescribed is probably not very helpful at that point. Let's do another one then that's looking a little bit more at approvals. I like approvals, and this is a very nice introduction automation for people who perhaps don't fully know their approval workflow yet, but need some kind of sign off. Help me out here. What kind of sign off or approval would happen within fleet management?
I'm just thinking about this because this is just managing it. If it was for like repairs, the cost for repairs and things like that could be
well, I'm
approval.
Thinking that the best example we can give on this, because you're absolutely right, this would work so well with ongoing vehicle management, is once we've added in a vehicle, I imagine that vehicle will need to be approved by somebody as ready to go on the road. That's kind of my making it up on this one. Signed off for maybe health and safety. Maybe the first check has been done, having purchased the vehicle, and we want it to be road ready. Somebody's got to confirm that. Yep. Making it work. So under the approvals, that's a question of turning on SharePoint approvals. And then let's leave that one for the moment and apply. So now you can see a brand new little approval status there. So then you click onto the button. It's just a case of filling out the form. Sheree, I'm going to make you our approver. Pop in the details. I'm being lazy here. You would put in a proper message that gives everybody a good fighting chance of knowing what you want them to do. And when you submit, that fires off emails. You can see it's creating that approval request there. And then it's updated just to say that approval has been requested. From that point on, it's reliant on the people receiving their emails, hitting approve or reject, putting in the message details. And that's what's now making this an action-based flow. What kind of approval processes do we come across most often? Can you give us some good real-world client examples? I know that we approve documents, policies get signed off.
Yeah. new contracts, new anything like that. Expenses in the finance department.
Of course. Yeah, indeed. Approvals of any expenditure, approvals of, well, I mean, it's so flexible, isn't it? It doesn't really matter because this process isn't defined by what we're approving or how we're approving. It's just, this is my person in charge. I send them the message asking them to do what I want them to do, and we kick off. And once the whole process is completed, you can see how this approval status column is going to tell us exactly what's going on. Really easy to see what's outstanding, what's not been requested yet. It's a great management tool. Cool. Okay. What else do you think that people might need to know? We've kind of gone through some incredibly simple but very flexible features that we would use off the bat to get our clients working quickly with data in SharePoint. Any other favourites? Do we dare go AI?
I mean, they're very recently integrated with the list, so
indeed, and I'm feeling nervous now. It's like perform. So what can we do within Copilot? Here it is, nice little shiny button.
this is depending on the license you've got also. Good. Copilot.
That is a really valid point, actually. Yeah, do you want to go into that?
Yeah, I don't actually know what the standard experience is with lists. Philippa, you might know more about that, but I know with a license, we are on the cusp of being able to interact with the lists, analyze the lists. But yeah, do you know what it is for a basic user of Copilot, Philippa? Is there any interaction?
So the basic license that most people will probably have is just free Copilot chat. It doesn't interact with your SharePoint experience particularly. Right. I think that we can produce things that people can see using Copilot if you have a full license, but it's just free chat. Yeah. What happens when you suddenly start paying for your Copilot license? This little button pops up everywhere, starts saying like a little butler, what can I do for you? What shall we work with? And one of the things that we can do, if I go up here, is we can create agents very, very easily. Those agents are designed to only answer questions about this list. Now, what kinds of questions do you think would be useful? Have we got any? Yeah, go on.
I'm just thinking of the ISO and what information clients might need about not necessarily MPG, but the engine size and how many EVs are on a fleet. And you can probably get some really comprehensive ISO data reports out of this.
Yeah, as long as we have the data, then it's there to be analysed. I've shoved in a really good example of what not to do, I think. Have we got any Toyotas? And to be fair to it, it has responded well to my amateur inquiry. So we have got 6 Toyotas. Those are the registrations. Obviously, I will fact check that like my life depended on it. But once I can build up some trust with this, that's a useful tool for our clients to be able to interrogate their lists. I'm excited by this, and I want to test it. How many of our vehicles, and which ones? Might be pushing me like that. Use a dash cam. Might as well give it a whirl. We need to fill in the gaps here while Copilot's having a think. But this actually illustrates quite nicely, again, how we have to discuss with our clients what they want it to do. Yeah. Just shoving Copilot into the hands of people is, as we know, not particularly helpful. What kinds? Oh, hello. 36 vehicles use a dash cam. Okay, moment of truth, I think. Filter by. Yes. I mean, does it say 36? 36!
Boom.
It's those moments where I'm fully capable of using AI, and I still get excited when it gets numbers right.
Okay. It's good to check.
It's essential to check, absolutely essential, because all sorts of things can go awry when you're setting up agents for the first time and training it on your data. So I think we've kind of gone easier on it. Yeah. I love the idea about the CO2 emissions. Classic. Yeah. Really useful ones. But now it really is leading us towards a completely different session, which is about how we enable our clients to get very quick, consistent reports out of their SharePoint data by using their Copilot licenses. But I feel like that's a session for another day.
Indeed it is. It's a rabbit hole that we'll all get very excited about once again.
Once again, us being excited, unheard of, I tell you, unheard of. But I'm really hopeful that this session is useful for the businesses that kind of aren't the big ones, aren't the ones with huge centralized databases and all the good stuff that pops up in these panels and all of the industry papers and stuff, assuming that you've got high level management systems. This is really for the smaller ones so that they can punch above their weight and give them a bit of space and time. I think just a bit of space and time to find out what they need long term.
Yeah, with tools that they may already have access to if they've got a Microsoft license.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, well, I've had fun in the playground today. That was great. Thank you so very, very much.
Fabulous.
All right, you take care. Thank you very much.
See you
Take
soon.
care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.